All right, Alice.
All
Let's
right,
get right to
indeed.
it. This is our last day. We're going to our fat specialists shortly after, so we may have to skate out a little bit early. But so I'm excited, and we'll tell you how it went. So listen, here's the deal. We are going to be taking a week off unless something happens, in late August, the week before Memorial Day. We may have a couple of interviews canned or do best of. Maybe we should run some of those best of.
There's all kinds of ones people have never heard.
There are?
I mean, a lot of people have never heard.
Yeah, I guess so. Kind of a bizarre thing to say.
Well, some of our listeners are newer.
Do you know which ones they haven't heard?
Well, older ones, I mean.
Okay. We'll play some older ones that you may or may not have heard.
They haven't heard them.
You haven't heard them.
Some of them haven't.
Yes.
Some people have obviously heard them.
This should be pretty automatic, Alice, this little transition here. You just stick to your wires there for this. I can handle this part alone. I can handle this heavy lift alone.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing some
do
best
what
of.
you need to do, honey.
Okay. We're going to be doing some best of. And for that week. And then we'll pop one in Friday. We'll do one. No, Thursday. Okay. And then I'll have to probably do some special one for Saturday or something, because we're not going to have one for Sunday, but we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. It's just 1 week.
The week before Labor Day.
Week before Labor Day, right. And then I'm back that Sunday before Labor Day, and so I'll do one, or I'll do one with them, but they're in transit, right? It doesn't matter. If any of you happen to be in or around Logan Airport at 1:46 in the morning, after Alice's flight with 7 connections, she's going to be in Logan Airport, because this is how she books flights, because Alice loves to suffer. Loves to suffer.
It's not that I love to suffer. It's just that when you book a plane ticket for 5 people, every little bit of cost multiplies out times 5. So I get the cheapest humanly possible tickets for me and the kids. Tom, of course, is flying on a separate nonstop flight by himself with more legroom.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. That is the only way to do it. If I can't imagine a connection... If I had booked a trip...
With 4 kids and...
Yeah. With a connection, and imagine that, connect from Boston to L.A., and having to wait, to sit around at another place and wait before you wait.
One of our trips is going to take like 12 hours with connecting flights.
I would simply open my desk drawer and say goodbye. That's what
I'm just willing to put up with a little inconvenience
12
to save some
hours
money.
in airports? Oh, I can't imagine. I'm already dreading mine. My 6 hours or whatever it is. What am I going to do in a chair for 6 hours?
You can try reading something.
Oh, I don't honestly know if I remember how to read. I don't. I will. I'll grab a couple of books. I
have books.
I know. Yeah, I haven't read... all the books I tell people that I've read, I haven't really.
I know that.
Yeah, including what's the one with?
You always tell me you've read The Count of Monte Cristo, and I
have read that in French. Yes, I have actually. That one I did.
I don't actually.
Doesn't matter. Winchester High School.
That's a very big book. I don't.
Winchester
think you
High School. You can get the transcript. That's in there. Correct. The Count of Monte Cristo. I read that. I've read Grendel. I've read Beowulf. I've read Greece on an Ocean Thurn. Odin and Grecian Thurn. I read all of them. All right, so let's just get right to it. I forgot where we are in this particular version. I'm going to go right to the White House briefing room. Yeah, she's going to be tossed.
You think they're going to do Kirby instead?
Yeah, he's got it. He's got presence. He's control in there. He's just. I mean, it's a tough job for no matter who has right now, because just things aren't going well. But. For instance, when this moron from News Africa named Simon something won't shut up, Kirby takes control.
Mr. Kirby, can you clarify what your job at the White House is?
You said that our policy for China has been consistent.
Your name is Simon, right?
Yeah, I really want to ask you a question.
Simon?
Well, you
Simon?
know his name is Simon, and he likes to do drawings. Do you know what that is?
No. I mean, I know you sing it. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Some of you guys will know what it is. Fifth caller wins a pair of tickets to Canopy Lake Park if you can tell me what that is. I'm not even going to tell you. I'll wait till tomorrow. All the guys will know what that is. I will
You're
say.
really going to give somebody tickets to Canopy
No,
Lake Park?
negative. You don't have any tickets, as a matter of fact.
Thank
You
you.
know-
Thank you.
can
Our
have the stubs.
compliance,
You know
our
what you can do?
compliance team is
do-
texting me right now.
You know, you can do, if you get that right, then you get to have the stubs to Alice's 46 connection flight to and from LA when she's done with them.
I'm trying to ask you this question.
Simon.
If you allow me to ask you the question.
Sir, I'm gonna call on this man. Now, sir, listen. Now, I've been polite to you, but I expect a little bit of respect in return. You know where we are? This is the White House press briefing room, and you need to be more respectful. I'm gonna call on this reporter.
You described our policy toward China as consistent and clear, but the U.S. policy toward Taiwan is also described as strategic ambiguity.
I don't love Kirby, but I like that. That was good. That was good, Curb, man.
Does anybody have a problem with it? I'm like on the left or anything?
Not as yet.
I'm just
All right.
waiting for them to have some kind of problem with it.
Ducey asks a good question to Kirby.
Why is it that over the last couple months, President Biden has been so much tougher on Russia than he is on China?
I wouldn't agree with the premise of the question, Peter.
So, but they keep it going here. It's good by Ducey to keep on.
When Russia was getting aggressive around Ukraine, the president was out every couple days telling Putin, don't do it. And now China is getting aggressive around Taiwan, and we're not hearing anything like that from the president.
Oh, beg to differ. We've been standing up here for almost a week, Peter, talking about our concerns about what China was preparing to do. We put out declassified information that we saw with the Chinese play.
He's still not doing it. He's still not putting the China. He's saying, yeah, we put all sorts of things, being very tough on them. He's still not being tough on them.
Right.
He's saying we've done it, but he's not. It's remarkable. He's much more artful at this, of course, than Korean is, but still.
Playbook was going to be. Look, I stood at another podium not long ago, and much of the same way we reacted then, we're reacting now in terms of being honest and transparent about what's going on and calling it.
Do it, then.
Right.
Be transparent about what's going on. Say the words that you keep saying, apparently, that everybody keeps missing.
Out for what it is.
What is it?
And then today, talking about exactly what we're going to do to make sure we can help preserve a free and open Indo-Pacific. So I'm afraid
Which
I just
is
challenge
what?
the premise
A free and open Indo-Pacific. Mike,
of your question.
I mean, that is crafty in professional spinning he's doing, but he's absolutely still not doing it. Ducey has him on the spot, and he's not saying it. He just can't say it.
So was Corinne just not there today altogether?
I didn't see her. Oh, I don't think so, no.
I know you said that there is not a call scheduled with Xi. Is there a reason why? Because President Biden's known him for decades.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of free time up there in the residence this week.
He doesn't have free time.
Is there a reason he can't just pick up the phone and call?
He's been working all the way through his illness, quite frankly, Peter. So that's a little bit insulting. And as for a
It's
call,
not insulting
it is.
to
It
say
is.
that someone who is isolating by themselves.
You suggested he has a lot of free time, as if he's not doing anything, and you know that's not the case, Mr. Ducey. Now look, as for a call with President Xi, I don't have anything on the president's schedule to speak to. If ever the president felt like a call with President Xi was the appropriate way to respond, or that it would have an effect and an outcome that he wants to achieve, he certainly would be willing to do that. He's talked to Xi now 5 times. It's not like he's afraid to pick up the phone and call President Xi. And if there's if a call is the right answer, I'm sure that President Biden will do that. But I'm not going to get ahead of the president on this. I do want to stress. I said it before, but I do think that your question begs me to say it again, that the lines of communication are still open with Beijing, and we're using those lines of communication. And I think you'll see that in days to come as well. That's really important. And that's one of the reasons why President Biden made that call a week or so ago, was to make sure, and you saw it in Corinne's readout, to make sure that those lines of communication stay open, and they are.
Still can't manage to say anything tough to the Chinese. It is effing remarkable. It's effing remarkable.
That being said, I am fascinated by having Kirby out there so much more now and Corinne less, because I mean, I think it's going to be interesting, not because I don't understand why they're doing it, because obviously she sucks at the job. But what do you say? I mean, how are they going to handle this transition, given that she was a historic first and they patted themselves on the back so much for having her there and all her firstness, and now they're going to replace her with a white man? How can they do that without
we are supposed to notice the skin pigment. Yes, that's highly important.
I mean, I think everyone should absolutely call them out, since they made such an issue of race and gender of people and what a great job they're doing being diverse. Hold them to their stupid rules that they've made up.
Yeah, if they did start asking questions about that, that would be wonderful. They'd have to run into Kirby's office and say, "Please tell us you're something interesting, please." Please.
I mean, and maybe this is a strategy they'll take, is they'll just keep her as, quote, press secretary, but he'll just come out and do the briefings from now on, and they'll just hope no one notices.
He could do that.
And not call him the press secretary, but just so that there's no, conflict.
Okay, so they've declared a state of emergency over monkeypox today. Mm-hmm. And that means that's going to free up money, more federal money to go into states, and more Democrats to run on this, and more all sorts of other Christmas presents, and a chance. It's the midterm election, so this gives them a chance for something. And of course, it's going to be more people are going to be doing more virtue signaling somehow. I asked people today how they were going to do virtue signaling. One guy said that that straight men should go to bathhouses to show that we're so
solidarity.
Cool. Yep, solidarity, absolutely. One other man said that we should have that he would have an orgy on his front lawn next to the Ukraine sign. Neither of those, I think, are very practical. But they're going to do something, and as well that this psychotic is going to be doing something. This is Randy Weingarten today.
Where's the education pieces here? Where's the education pieces here? Climate change. If we actually stop these extreme weather events.
That's Randy Weingarten, angry that the Inflation Reduction Act doesn't have more for teachers' unions. She is a monster, man. It is rather remarkable. Of course, they're going to do something.
I'm surprised she didn't come out and complain that the packed veterans burn pits bill didn't have more for the teachers' unions. She's completely everything is about her and the teachers' unions, just like COVID all became about teachers' unions. And I mean, the only good thing to come out of it is that it was so transparent and horrible what they did during COVID, and how they made it all about themselves and tried to become the heroes of the pandemic as they tried to grab more of people's money and provide less service to the taxpayers for it. That I think that a lot of people have woken up to how horrific they actually are. So, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot ultimately over this. More school choice bills and stuff passed during this time than ever in the United States. So I think they're going to continue to cause themselves these problems.
D.C. Attorney General Karl Racine tweeted this today. Across the nation, we're seeing an alarming increase in efforts to prevent LGBTQ plus individuals, including children, from simply being who they are and loving who they love, including children. This is all one big blanket thing, including the monkeypox thing, the state of emergency, this LGBT. It's all one big campaign, and expect it to come out of every corner. There's going to be part of this that is woven through. Mm-hmm. These people. This is not a good time to have a dead president. It's not. It's not. This is.
Well, because I think what's so dangerous is, Trump also, in some ways, was a little bit of an absentee president on certain issues. He was not good at filling up the federal government with his own partisans, or at really tackling a lot of the bureaucratic stuff. Not as good as I would have liked him to be. Now, he was hamstrung in a lot of ways too, but he wasn't as active in a lot of these issues as I thought he maybe could have been. That being said, Trump's form of benign neglect that he practiced actually made things better, because he wasn't beholden to so many special interests. Biden's neglect of everything has led to an opening where he's allowed like the teachers union to swoop in and run CDC policy. And he's allowed Russia to do whatever they want in Europe, and he's allowing China to do whatever they want. And he's letting all these groups sort of run wild. Trump, I thought, could have done more to cut back on the federal bureaucracy and, these special interest groups like unions and other environmental groups and all this junk that tries to control policy, right? But Biden is like letting them run the show.
Oh, totally.
I mean, they all deserve. I wish Trump had just kneecapped all these federal agencies completely. And somebody needs to come in there and do it, whether it's Trump again or someone else. But Biden's actually just letting them run the country into the ground with absolutely no oversight.
Right.
It's like the difference between, just not driving the car at all and letting your drunk friend drive it. Like, it's these. Well, right. I mean, these agencies and activists and stuff are running the country into the ground on purpose and enriching themselves, and Biden's not doing anything about it. At least under Trump, it was like some of this stuff just sort of stagnated a little bit. He didn't completely kill it forever.
We haven't heard from Biden's doctor. They're not letting us talk to his doctor. It's unprecedented, unheard of.
Has he been writing more letters?
I'm assuming there's notes every day. And as part of the Monkeypox campaign, which has begun, the Washington Post is doing its part. They tweeted out today, sex is a major driver of the global monkeypox outbreak, but health officials and longtime HIV activists say calls for abstinence don't work. To which I'm seeing many, of course, that on its own obviously is unbelievably bizarre, outrageous, but to which I'm seeing more responses like this. We were banned from having an indoor or outdoor funeral for my dad when there were 30 cases of COVID statewide and 10 people in the hospital. So in other words, people are saying, if we were made to stop everything, mentally harm the kids for 2 years, and not go to funerals or weddings or anything like that, you can stop having sex for a little while.
And not even completely stop having sex. Nobody's saying that the monogamous gay couple that lives together needs to stop having sex. That's not spreading monkeypox. It's the sex with 40 strangers in a weekend, like we read Babe's story, that's spreading monkeypox. Like, just that type of sex with that many people that you don't know well. And, just cut back on the number of partners. The
actual headline of this WAPO article is, as monkeypox strikes gay men, officials debate warnings to limit partners. We're debating warnings to limit partners? Right. It's an insult if you say you have to have a limit. I know you wanted to hit 110 this weekend, but you
can you stick to 30 or so? Maybe?
This is unbelievable. But also, how much disdain must the left have for gay people?
Well, it's essentially saying they can't possibly be expected to rein it in a little bit for a short period of time.
Yes,
and like the example you read, and I've been seeing a few of these. They arrested a guy who was surfing by himself in the ocean in California, but they can't respectfully suggest that the gay community dial it back a little bit in the face of, quote, a public health emergency.
What a time. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But this is going to be it. This is the next, talk about grooming. This is the next attempt to condition all of us into thinking, oh, yeah, that's absolutely, we can't ask them to not have sex. Can't ask them. We can't ask somebody. Of course we'd wear a mask, which is something you would never. It's insane. God, I hate this country. I'm sorry. I'm joining. I'm taking over for Al-Zawahiri now. I'm moving over there. I'll just do whatever they. After I lose weight, I think they have a weight limit.
I found the doctor's letter today. He's on day 6 of testing positive for rebound COVID. He feels very well today. He is still experiencing a very occasional cough, but the cough is improving. His temperature, pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and oxygen saturation remain normal. His lungs remain clear. Given his rebound positivity, we have continued daily monitoring. His test remained positive. He will continue his strict isolation measures as previously described. He will continue to conduct the business of the American people from the executive residences. As I have stated previously, the president continues to be very specifically conscientious to protect any of the executive residence, White House, Secret Service, and other staff whose duties require any socially distanced proximity to him. As promised, I will keep your office updated with any changes in his condition or treatment plan. Oh, there you go. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Has he been on video at all recently or no?
Oh, no, not
The
that
president?
I don't think so. Not that I've seen anyway. Other bizarre stuff is we didn't have the well, here's Beto in New York. I'll just go through some of these. Not in New York, in Texas, talking about once again the teachers unions is that this is the message they're going on is that teachers need to parents need to cede over curriculum, all of it, to the teacher's discretion.
What if we treated that teacher with the respect that she has earned, that she is owed, that we all want to give her? We don't need to tell her what version of history she is allowed to teach in the classroom. We don't need to scare the parents of those kids before her about something called CRT that I've never heard of before last year.
That's what he's going for. That's his...
Because you're just all stupids who got scared of these three letters CRT. You'd never even heard of it. You don't even know what it is. It's just... It's interesting to see that they're doubling down after the election results in Virginia and whatever, that they are continuing to push this message that parents are just idiots and the teachers know much better. And, but the left is into that kind of credentialism where they're, the teacher is the expert. They know what to teach. The parents are just stupid. They don't know what they're doing. And it's just not true. A lot of parents are very smart people, even ones without degrees and even ones without teaching degrees and even ones who don't know all the fancy woke words and everything else. And they see the assignments their kids are coming home with, and they're hearing about things their kids learned at school, and they're seeing their kids' little friends start to have new and different pronouns and get crazy surgeries on themselves. And they're seeing what's happening, and they don't actually like it. They're not just dumb.
And the teachers are bitching and moaning about it on TikTok.
Should President Biden...
No, sorry about that.
Okay, TikTok, I really need your help here on this one. I'm a teacher. I teach 5th and 6th grade, and this morning, I don't know, somehow the concept of pronouns came up. And
somehow.
One of my students said, well, Miss Odell, did you even ask me my pronouns? And I was like, whoa. I hadn't actually asked him his pronouns, and I had called him a him, and I said, I'm so sorry. I haven't actually asked you what your pronouns are. And what are they? And he said, Banana said, banana and rock. And I was like, dude, no, don't mess around with. I was actually really upset because.
Dude, no, don't mess around.
This is not funny. Pronouns are very serious.
Dude, no, don't mess around. You can be she, they, zed, zag, zog, zoog, zog, zem, zum, zim, zum, fum, sunk, sunk, click, plam, flim, clam, dandlu. You can't be rock or banana. You're messing around now. We're not messing around with all these other idiotic things that we're saying. No. But you're messing around.
Yeah. Demi Lovato can be they for some reason temporarily and then change her mind again, but you can't be banana.
This whole thing is messing around.
Yeah, the whole thing is insanity.
I thought he was making fun of it. And in fact, I'm still pretty sure he was making fun of it. And, but they all agreed, no, you can choose anything. Banana, rock, if you want banana and rock to be a pronoun, banana and rock's your pronoun. Is it? TikTok, tell me.
Well?
I'm going to guess that the kids were messing around with the
Were
teacher.
they messing around?
I think it's possible they were messing around.
I don't know. You don't realize how many suicides there are with people who don't identify with gender binary identities? Do you realize how many suicides there are? So I think we go with rock banana. Absolutely. This is the rules. It's suicides if not.
I guess
so. You can't
They'll
even
just
debate
kill
it.
themselves
Nope, it's over.
Can't
debate
you
it.
don't call them rock and banana, I guess. So I mean, it's interesting. So somebody brought up on Twitter, we were chatting about it because we had talked a little bit about how like other mental illnesses now are starting to be recategorized as just like other people's realities. And there's been a bunch of this on TikTok, this, dissociative identity disorder, which is what we call multiple personality disorder now. But a bunch of these people are basically just saying like, this is actually my reality now. So I have these different identities, and each of those different identities has different pronouns and other things, whatever the stuff is. So I went back. I remembered this New York Times article had been out here recently about people going off their antipsychotics and just dealing with the voices that they have in their head and whatever. And, it's a fascinating article for a variety of reasons. It's a little bit old. It's from earlier this year, maybe like January or something. But I had read it at the time, and then, but I hadn't read it recently, and it was really interesting. There were a few parts that I thought were fascinating. One is that, and the article acknowledges this because they're making the case that we just like shouldn't even treat these things as disorders. We should just accept people as they are. But they bring up this point, which is that all these psychiatric drugs, and this is something like Tucker's been on about lately too, and we've seen a lot of, especially with the mass shootings, have like really, really poor evidence behind them. And the doctors really don't know what causes a lot of these mental illnesses, and they're throwing these drugs at it, and it like seems to do something, calm people down or whatever, but they have like massive side effects, and we don't really know what it is that we're doing with them. Like the long-term like changes aren't necessarily like as helpful as we think they are, which is fascinating to me that like the entire mental health industry is like just a total crock. Like they don't know what they're doing at all, or why, or how any of these mental illnesses work, or anything else.
Right there, I believe you. And it's and I totally believe that. I mean, I don't necessarily think that we should normalize all these different behaviors as just totally normal and validate the voices people hear as like real things. But, I do believe that the mental health industry is completely full of it, and they have no idea what they're doing in the long term. That I believe. And it's funny because we've been asked to believe for a long time that this industry has like so much credibility behind it, and that science is just like physical illnesses. It's just like saying you'd go to a doctor if you broke your leg. Why wouldn't you go to them if your brain isn't working right? Well, we apparently know like almost nothing about how the brain works. And Tucker's been talking about this recently too, how like a bunch of these studies about how like Alzheimer's works, that all these drugs are based on doing, like a bunch of the evidence was fabricated. Like actually just wasn't real. So these like plaques that they're saying cause Alzheimer's, that all the drugs they're trying to get them to not cause the plaques, that's just like made up. That doesn't exist or work that way. And if the drugs do something, they don't know why it does anything. So, and it's Alzheimer's, and it's these antipsychotics are like that. And I mean, I don't think I would trust the doctors any more than I'd trust a witch doctor or a priest or anybody else. I mean, I would probably tend to trust a priest on it more, but I think that a lot of these illnesses have like other components that we don't understand at all, that are just utterly beyond. How could we know? This is neurological stuff. I mean, how could we possibly know? And how could we possibly know the long-term, the fallout? And if you've got a brain that's a non-binary brain, we'll say, then I assume that you're being affected in different ways. And just to throw this stuff against the wall.
Yeah. So this New York Times article, one of the things it talks about is these places. There's a bunch of people starting these places, which I assume are a huge liability. I have no idea how their insurance works or whatever. But they have like these sort of halfway house type places for people with mental illnesses. This one's called Afia. And they take in like a ton of people who are having these problems, don't demand they get treated or anything. It says the people who stay at Afia are in dire need. Many are not only in mental disarray, but also homeless. Many are suicidal. There are no clinicians on staff, no security personnel, only people who know such desperation firsthand. In the living room, a homemade banner declares, holding multiple truths, knowing that everyone has their own accurate view of the way things are. So everybody's Everybody's thing is real. But I thought this was fascinating. Listen, this is from a 2019 piece in the New England Journal of Medicine that said, we are facing the stark limitations of biologic treatments. There is no comprehensive biologic understanding of either the causes or treatments of psychiatric disorders.
Oh, good.
We have no idea what we're doing, basically. And the billions of dollars that get spent on this stuff to turn around and say we have no idea if it works or how much or why, and like nothing apparently has advanced very far beyond the like initial Thorazine that was invented decades ago. It's just all little sort of tweaks on that they've been doing ever since. And they don't know, like, all these newer drugs, Zyprexa, Risperdal, that a bunch of them have like been recalled or had massive side effects. Men who are on Risperdal, a lot of them would like develop breast tissue and stuff, like, just, I mean, like, extreme side effects for, like, we don't know what, really. I mean, the whole industry is crazy and ineffective, and, like, we don't know what we're doing. So, and then, but at the same time, this other point of view that these people have, where we just have to treat mental illnesses like they're great and everything the people say as reality, also seems like incredibly dangerous to me. This person who does this says Maisel Carlton takes care not to diminish the suffering of people like herself and speaks of expanding the options for healing. Yet she sees her wish as analogous to not just the mainstreaming of autism, but the nascent acceptance of new forms of gender identity. Our society needs to expand its view of what it means to be human, she says, to expand what is affirmed and honored. See, we have to affirm and honor the voices in your head.
So what do I have to accommodate now when somebody's hearing multiple voices?
When somebody's hearing voices, I have to
call Chad,
neat. What did
Rick.
Yeah, that's neat. What did Chad tell you today when he was talking or
well,
whatever?
You know what's very interesting is that she made the correlation between that
and the gender identity. Well,
yeah.
I think it's connected, especially for a lot of these young people on TikTok. A lot of them have or claim to have multiple personalities that have different gender identities. One of them was claiming that one of her gender identities had a pet, so now the pet is also one of her
they have to put out a little saucer of milk for it?
I don't know. But, like, I guess, and so there's some controversy in the TikTok DID, dissociative identity disorder hashtags, over, like, whether or not your different personalities are called your alters. If your alters can have, like, different races, like, is that allowed?
Yeah, that is interesting.
Can some of your personalities be black
the answer
people?
to this is yes, because these people are going to want to be as interesting as possible, and they're going to want to make sure that you have to bend over backwards in ways you never thought was viable.
They can also be different ages, the different personalities in your head. That's already a bunch of them have like personalities that are different ages, and it's like that already is dangerous to me, because like what's going to happen when you're going around saying you're 18 and you're not? Like, but I assume that's something the left actually wants to happen anyway, is to have age be really nothing but a number. Speaking of which, did you see my update on the Dane Cook thing?
Yes.
So, and I don't know how you feel about this, because apparently, like, so I didn't really care about the Dane Cook thing because she was 18 when they started dating, is how it was reported. She was 23 when they got engaged, and that 5 years ago they started dating. I'm like, doesn't reflect really well on him, but like, whatever, it's not illegal, like, okay. But apparently they met when she was actually 15. She was going to parties at his house. And there's like pictures of this from back in like whatever year this was. Like, she was born in 1998, so this was like in 2016, before she turned 17 or whatever. I forget how the numbers worked out exactly, but yeah, I don't know, first of all, that 15-year-olds should be hanging out with a bunch of middle-aged comedians.
Yeah. No. Unless they want to have sex with the 15-year-olds. There's no reason. A 15-year-old doesn't have anything interesting to say.
Well, right.
But
it was like at game. He's like at game night, and there's like him and like Seth Green and a bunch of other like middle-aged men.
Seth Green, isn't he involved in that thing?
I don't know, but
No,
anyway,
no,
look.
Hold on.
Okay,
Don't-
what thing?
That Ezra thing.
Oh, is he involved in the Ezra Miller thing?
Isn't that one of the guys who he called out?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I
don't know that much about that. But
the story is this crazy actor called out Seth Green for being a pedophile, essentially.
He might be. I mean, he's in those pictures, and some other people that I didn't really know who they were, hadn't heard of or whatever, but some people were like recognizing other people. You're like, game night, and then there's all these girls that look so young, and she's like 15. Somebody said she's like the daughter of somebody, and that's why she was there. Yeah. But still, like, that's even weirder than
when I lived in California.
40, you wouldn't have 15-year-olds over your house to hang out with you and the men.
Right.
Like,
unless
weird.
They're having sex with them. There's a reason why there's a reason why you don't go anywhere near. When I was in when I lived in California, and we'll see where it was in Balboa Boulevard, and right across the street there was an apartment house. It was run by this Weasley, California snake guy. There was so many California weasels. Almost all of them were. But anyway, there was a woman who was there, who was gorgeous. She looked like Jane Mansfield. So in other words, her Tippi Hedren. She was bleach blonde. She was gorgeous. She was extremely curvaceous. Always cleavage. Always. She dressed nice though, like in gowns and things. Like not gowns, but like beautiful dresses. And she was just beautiful. And she always had somewhere to be. Always was going to this party, this opening, this party, this opening, this party, this opening. And I was like, man. And she was really sweet. So she said hi to us. How you guys doing? Okay, I'm going out to things, whatever. And she was really sweet and nice. And I remember thinking, like, that's a woman who's got her stuff together, and she is like advanced and beautiful. And at this time, I was 18, and she came around whatever to like to have a cigarette with us one day, was something whatever. And she told us that she was 15. Yeah. Oh my God, what world do you live in? You're a 15-year-old, and she's going out and living, and you would have thought that she was 24 years old, and, I was speaking to her like she was an older woman, not a freshman in high school. She just carried herself like that. I'm not saying this is what happened here, but I'm just saying that was LA, essentially, and I just get the feeling a lot of this stuff happens. Men find women who are in that area, not me, but attractive.
Right.
It's true, which is why some
women who look like adult women, men find attractive because they find adult women attractive.
Exactly. So when everybody, and I can't believe men do this who I know, like show pictures of their daughters at prom, especially when they're falling out of stuff, and they look like 27-year-old women. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why don't put that photo up there.
Don't put that photo up, and don't put it up for any man to see, because you don't. It's just a, yeah. So this is it's.
So I don't understand what, like, apparently dad brought his daughter to hang. Apparently it was a stepdad, I guess, brought his daughter to come hang out at Dane Cook's party. Like, yeah,
that sounds like a pretty low on the totem pole.
Shady. Like.
Yeah, how fun is that going to be? But also, like, I mean, she's beautiful, and she's not 23. She's beautiful, and she's interested in him. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I have no problem with it. I do think that if he's dating her when she's 18,
and he's known her since she was 15,
what are you going to possibly talk about? One Direction? Really? What are you going to talk about?
Like, I mean, she can't even go to the bar with you, so like, what? I don't quite get it.
I don't get it. I understand that women are attracted.
So we did start dating when I was fairly young.
Yeah,
so
23.
So we get a little shade for it, but yeah, I could like go out and drink and like be places, and the like really young girls thing. I don't.
Okay, let's do the chat check. We got a bolt here.
Yeah, we got to do a chat chat, and then we got to get out of here and go get unfatted.
Hey, Tom. Just watching the crowdcast of the show tonight. And every time there was a split screen of Alice and yourself, my mind wandered to a Grimm Brothers watercolor of a beautiful princess and some ogre or troll-like beast. Then the coup de grace, you ham-fisting that Truly seltzer and pounding it down. Then reaching for another to dab your Cro-Magnon brow of the sweat. You can't even sit there and talk without melting. That French guy was right. You are an animal. And a motherfucker.
Oh, wait. Damn it. Now I got to clean that up. Yeah, that is actually very good play-by-play. And I think that I'm all for it. I'm all for you doing play-by-play of it as it's happening. Okay.
When are we going to get our own wrap-up podcast? How big do you have to be before that starts happening?
Tiny bit bigger. I think.
Tiny bit
Would
bigger?
Tom ever say no to an Arby's sponsorship for the podcast?
What?
Obviously not. I don't even know why I'm asking.
Tom would say no to no
the man
sponsorship.
looks like he could just eat Arby's all day. All right, bye.
I think that's a compliment, Alice. I think that's a compliment. And yes, although I can't, starting very soon, they're putting both of us into fat camp. I think I am going to have a different regiment, though, than you. Yeah, Arby's is delicious. The Arby's beef and cheddar with horsey sauce is damn delicious, and I love them. I'm going to drive to an Arby's. I don't know where the nearest one is, but I'm going to drive to a damn Arby's. I love them.
Hi, Alice. It's Steve from Merrimack.
Hi, Steve.
No, I've never done cocaine either. Oh, God, that was so funny.
I have not done cocaine.
Alice, stop. Have a little bit of respect for the listeners. Just a little bit. They share stuff with you.
I share stuff with the listeners, but I have not done cocaine.
Lexington Yacht.
I'm sharing with you that I haven't done
Yacht
cocaine.
Bunny didn't do a bumper 2 in the inside of the cabin cruiser.
Never.
Incorrect.
Thank you to everybody who believed me that I have not done cocaine. I appreciate
You pull all-nighters now when you have big projects to do, by the way, Alice. Are you sniffing rails, knocking rails down?
No, if anything, I think about sometimes getting an Adderall prescription like all the other women my age who
But
go
until
to
then,
psychiatrists
you're going to be
and
blasting
get Adderall.
lines. Correct.
No, but I don't want to do cocaine. I'm not a drugs person. It doesn't agree with me, and I don't even do weed.
See,
okay.
I'm not a food person.
Stop it.
C'est la vie.
Pathetic.